Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast, the live show Tuesday night. Absolutely pumped for it. Favorite day of the week now with our live shows. Cannot wait. Already popping up in the comments, a few people. Hello. How are we all going? Again, the more you guys come in, get involved, give your questions, give your opinions, all that sort of stuff, the better the show is, as you've all known by now. So really appreciate everything we've done so far. I think this is the third live show now. It's just getting bigger and bigger each and every week. So really do once again appreciate and thank everyone for the support. The podcast numbers, I had a quick look just before, absolutely insane. So a huge thank you to everyone who is out there listening to the podcast, watching on YouTube as well. Those numbers are still so consistent compared to other years. It's been incredible. So a shout out to a whole League of Inches community. I really do appreciate you, and a shout out to the legends as well. I think we've grown a few more over the last last week or so as well. So we're edging up to that 50 mark. A polo shirt will be given away. I am anticipating by the end of this month, I reckon we'll be giving away our first polo shirt. So keep going, get it to 50, and one of those lucky legends will be winning that polo shirt. There is so much to talk about tonight. I promise it will probably be quite a entertaining episode. There will be a lot spoken about. There will be a lot of honesty. There will be not much holding back. I know there's a number of people in the comments ready to rip and tear, which I absolutely love. But let's introduce the boys. Got Jake, got Trav. Trav, I'll throw to you first. How's things, mate? I know you've had a much easier, probably 48 hours than myself and Jake, being para fans to start with. But how's the week been? I know you haven't really been at work yet either. Obviously, still effects from the weather that was crazy. So again, shout out as well to the Southeast Queensland viewers. Hope you've all got through this safely. Hopefully not too much damage, if any. And again, shout out, please, if you do need. But Trav, how's things?
Yeah, things are good. Interesting times. I've learnt that I don't like the weather. I don't like storms. That cyclone was pretty intense, and it wasn't even a proper cyclone by the time it got here. So yeah, I've had an interesting few days. Learned a lot, figured a few things out to what I'm going to do next time, and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm going well. I was lucky enough that I didn't lose power, so I was able to still, go about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do things. I just had to do it at home because I wasn't leaving my doors. I wasn't going outside.
I realized I have these people that are apparently called my kids. I've got a son. Yeah. They leech off me apparently. Like I have to buy them food, and realized by the end of the weekend that we had no food. Shelves are empty. We had nothing. And I realized I have this lady that calls herself my partner. I don't know how true it is, but yeah, apparently we're a happy big family. Things are going well. So shout out to the Cyclone that actually introduced me to those people. Thank you very much. Jake, we got to have a chat on the live show. Things have escalated, obviously. Plenty to talk about tonight, which I'll probably be throwing to you quite early on for this one. But just to check in, how's the last 24, 48 hours been for yourself?
Well, I mean, if we're talking the stuff that happened with Para, it's a real roller coaster. But for me, not too much. On the weekend, a snake got into some friends of mine's house, a brown snake. And they called me over to see if I could sort of be there in case, to help them look for it in case one of us or one of them sort of got bitten, so I could take them to the hospital. So that was an interesting sort of hour or so, but we didn't find it. So technically, it could still be in the house. But we're pretty confident because they'd dogs got to it a little bit, so we're pretty confident it's kind of slipped out underneath like a gap in the door kind of thing because we saw a blood trail sort of go down there. So I wouldn't want to be sleeping in that house, that's for sure. But I'm not in that house, so I'm fine.
Goodness me. Not good at all. Let's start off what caught our eye this week. And guys, get in the comments. Let us know what caught your eye as well. You'll know by now, this isn't just rugby league related. It can be anything. So if you've got a story, because something happened to you over the weekend, please share it with us. Read it out as well. Jake, what caught your eye this week?
Oh, I mean, I'll hit you guys early with the obvious one, the big Dylan Brown, news that he caught my eye. If we're talking about in the game, I'll go with how good of a combination was Ezra Mann, what's his name? Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds together. That's going to be what caught my eye. That looks so good.
Yeah. Trav, what about yourself?
Mine's just going to go a bit of a touch on what I was talking about before, but yes, Josh Pappy's hair was glorious.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a little bit off topic or off the rugby league, but in terms of storms and things like what's happened on the weekend brings definitely the best out of people, but absolutely the worst out of people. And I'm just dumbfounded by some of the things that I've seen, the way some people have behaved, some of the comments and things I've seen in some of the community pages, some of the selfishness and ignorance of people has just absolutely dumbfounded me. To summarize just quickly, this storm has definitely created the best and worst of some people, and I've been sat there and watched it in the public eye over the social media over the last week now, and I think some people just need to wake up to themselves.
I echo that. It's been absolutely insane. The panic buying, everything ended up. It is definitely crazy. It's been a crazy few days. What caught my eye, the idiots that go out and have a surf in this, like, I'm petrified of it. I know there's a lot of like professionals and they do it and stuff, but I could not think of anything worse than going out when the swell is ridiculous. I got scared once. I was about 13, 14. I got dunked and felt like I was underwater for a minute. It was probably about 5 seconds, to be honest. But you go around like a washing machine, and that was enough for me. I said, no, I'm not too impressed with this. I don't want to do it. So to be in that sort of swell and fall off, I don't know. I really don't know. But again, all the YouTube watchers, like Tahi Bro has me. He mentions it every week, and I love you for it, brother. I really do appreciate the love and support you're sending to us. Hit that like button on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Goes a long way of helping support the page, which we've seen now. We've been harping on about it now for a few months, and we've really noticed the difference it does make. So please, it's literally clicking a button, which is completely free. It does a lot to help us. Same with Facebook. Hit the like button, even if you can share tonight's episode. If you can share tonight's episode and encourage people to come ahead and watch, just comment as well that you have shared it in the comments so I know. But one lucky winner, or one lucky person who shares it will get the 2 tickets this week for the giveaway for our Magic Round event. And you'll be coming along, meeting the boys, meeting everyone here, and having a couple of drinks as well. And we'll be chatting some footy for a few hours on that Saturday. So share it. Let us know you have, and you will be entered into that draw. Appreciate it. Let's do it. Let's get into what everyone is here for. Let's talk some football. Huge news, obviously circled from yesterday. Dylan Brown informed teammates, and Jakey boy takes a huge breath because it's not a topic we wanted to talk about, but unfortunately we have to. And I know everyone out here wants to as well. So please, and again, shout out to TC Coolers. You can see them on the screen now. With the Coolers be giving, I'm not going to put a limit on tonight. I'm going to see what comments come in. I'll be starring them as I go, but the best comments, whether it's a question or just a general comment, I will star, and at the end of the episode, I will give away a number of them. So get in the comments. To those that are waiting on any parcels from us, it has been a small delay just because of the weather and stuff. Haven't got to the post office. I normally go on a Friday or a Saturday, depending on how work is. Wasn't able to this week, so there's been a small delay, but bear with me. I'll get those out this week, no doubt. But yeah, get ahead, go and share this video and go and get your comments in. But Dylan Brown, there's so much to unfold here. There's so much to talk about. There's so many ways we can take this. So I'm going to let just everyone in the comments talk about what they need to talk about. I'm going to let you boys discuss what you guys need to talk about, have a vent, do whatever you need to do, because I think it's a huge topic in the game. It's very clear from our page alone, like the amount of comments, likes, and everything that any video or post has had around Dylan Brown. Very popular discussion point still. Let's go. Let's do it, because I've got a number of things I can say. I've got a number where I've briefly touched on it with a video I uploaded yesterday. So, Jake, I'll let you have first crack. I know you're a Para fan. I know you're a very passionate man. I know you've been a massive fan of Dylan Brown over the years as well. Definitely no denying that, which is absolutely fair. What are you thinking?
It's kind of interesting because when we first sort of saw that offer, and it's been so long sort of since then that it's kind of we've had a lot of time to sort of, I guess, digest that's an offer definitely on the table, and that it's sort of Para wasn't going to change. They weren't going to change anything. And when it kind of happened, I expected to feel a bit more shocked, but I kind of didn't. Like, I kind of sat there and was a bit more like, yeah, I see why you would do that. Like, it makes sense, I know a while back on the chats when we sort of talked about it, and I sort of said, like, he should stay loyal to the club and stuff like that. Now that I've thought a little bit more about it, realistically, the amount of money that he's getting thrown at him for 10 years of his life, like, that's such a commitment. Like, the amount of, I'll say this. This is where I'll start it off with, okay? I think as an Eels fan, I didn't want him to go at all. I understand his decision to go, and so I'm not going to hold that against him. And I do wish him luck. When he does go there, I want him to do the best that he can, right? It will hurt a little bit if all of a sudden they start smashing it and he crushes it for the Knights when he couldn't do that for Para a little bit, but, it is what it is. At the same time, the thing I'm going to say about this is that I think that the Knights have made a grave error. I think that it is, personally, a terrible signing. I think that it is way more money than he is worth. And I think if they're signing him to be able to win them games single-handedly, he's shown so many times he can't do that. He's shown that at the Eels. And I'm not saying it's all on him. At any point, I'm not saying it's just all on him. And he's a competitor and he tries his best week in and week out. But at the same time, we're paying him less than they are, and he's going to do the same job he's doing for us here to them for 10 years. So if he can't win a game on his own, if Kalen Ponga goes down or if their halfback goes down and he has to run that side, the same thing's going to happen. So I think in 5 years' time, we're all going to look back on this signing, because at the moment we have question marks around it, right? I think in 5 years' time, we all look back on this signing, or even 2 or 3, and we go like, wow, that was a really dumb signing. Like, that was not the right call. That's not what the Knights needed at all. And yeah, other than that, there's heaps I can talk about. I'll let you guys sort of have your say first, but the main sort of issue, I suppose, is I want him to succeed. I'm sad that he goes, but the biggest problem, I suppose, is that we let 2 players go to keep him, and then he's gone anyway. So we now have a gap in that sort of spot there. So I'll let you sort of take that where you want, but that's my take.
Trav, do you want the next dig or you got the next knock?
Oh, I don't mind at all. You can go. I can go. I don't care. Yeah, go.
Look, there's a number. As I said, there's so many things I want to say. There's so many ways I want to take it. I don't want to get lost with anything. I want to take it back to how this all started. I want to take this back, and I got to point out the club. Like, the fact that they allowed this to happen in the first place, and I think this has been forgotten about so much in the last 24 hours. They allowed this stupid clause from the start to happen. And if they didn't, we would not be in this shit show. Like, that's the brutal truth to it. And they allowed it, and now we are where we are. And they told Talangi to go, knowing full well 12 months down the track, they could very well lose Dylan Brown because of this clause. Yet here they go ahead again, and they didn't choose to offer him the extra little bit of money that he wanted. And I believe it wasn't money related that Blaze left. He wasn't happy with the way he was treated for a while there under BA when he was there, and then made his mind up, basically. That's the club's fault. The club has done this to themselves, and I just don't think they've been spoken about enough and held accountable enough, in my opinion. And that hurts me to say. Obviously, me being involved with the club a little bit now from a fan's point of view, it's not great to say that sort of thing, but it's the truth, and no one's saying it. So I'm a bit confused as to why, because if they didn't, we would not be talking about it. Dylan Brown would be on a long-term contract with the Eels, and away they go. But they chose not to, and they got dictated to by the manager that everyone wants to whinge about. But again, the manager did his job. He's done literally what his job is, the best thing by his client. Dylan Brown is a man. Dylan Brown is old enough to make decisions for himself. He decided to leave. That's on him. That was ridiculous money to say no to. Anyone in their right mind would go for that kind of money. If they were told to do the similar job, they would be getting an extra $500,000 or whatever it was a year, guaranteed for a 10-year contract. And the thing that has been spoken about yet, the actual contract goes up. It's not just stuck at $1.3 million a year. There's ratchet clauses in there throughout. Whenever the salary cap goes up, Dylan Brown's percentage goes up. So it's actually even more by the time he ends his career with the Newcastle Knights. It is ridiculous money, and you just can't. There's all these calls about dropping Dylan Brown now. All the Para fans coming out. He's still the best option we have at 5'8". He is still, for mine, one of the best 5'8s in the competition. You can't just go, oh, yeah, let's just give up on the year after round one. Yeah, I know we're on the list. We can't win the comp, but you can still put some respect in the jersey. You can still go out there, name your best teams. Like, this is a young guy still, 25 years old. He's got to make a decision. He's made the decision, move on. The problem is moving on. Where do we move on to? And that's the thing now. The Eels have to be – I put a post out. There's not many options on the market at the moment for next year. All the names that are getting spoken about are not available until the year after. So you're almost, in a way, you need to have it so you've got a little bit of a plan in place, a short-term plan, to then hopefully strike at a Galvin or a Jack Cole as well. I'm really big on Jack Cole, even Wishart. The Storm are like, these teams aren't going to just let these players go for the sake of helping Parramatta out. Like, they don't operate like that. They like those players. They need those players at the moment. Jack Cole's got the starting 5'8" spot now. Like, he's ahead of Blaze Talangi. It's been confirmed now this week. They're not going to let him go. That's the first bit of mine where I like to take this. There's more, but Trav, I'll let you go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go. Sorry, mate. Go. I'll take a breath. I need a drink.
Look, I'm going to be in the minority, and it looks like I'm sitting there with a couple of commenters like Brent Hampton, but I don't mind the signing. I really don't. Like, all to him. If someone wants to put out an offer and that's what they deem he's worth it, then he's worth it, isn't he? That's what they give. So they've given that to him. He's worth 1.3 mil or 1.4 mil. That's what he's paid for, and that's what they signed for. That's what was offered. Take it. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problems with him doing that. And that's part of the game that we're in. We sit there and say that he's not a halfback. Yeah, he's not. And obviously what you're saying, Joel, is absolutely fair. He's the best, one of the premier 5'8s in the competition. Definitely. Absolutely. But remember that he's going over there and playing with probably one of the better playmakers in the competition in Ponga. Like, I don't think it's that big a deal. Like, I really don't. I don't find this a bad signing for Newcastle, really, other than the fact that they're going to tie something like 2.6 or 2.5 or something like that million in their cap to two players. Yeah, I think the next CBA agreement signs off in 2027. I think so this current one was 2023, am I right? And then it finishes end of 2027. So, like, the salary cap is the salary cap's going to go up. Like, by the time that the salary cap goes up, and by that time, his money is, going to be maybe top 5 to top 10 in price wise for players. So, yeah, I just don't see a problem with it. I really don't. I like it. I think he's a good player. I think he's young. And for Newcastle, it's not a premier destination. People aren't going out of their way to get to Newcastle. So Newcastle have to do things to get dudes to go and play for them. And what they do is to pay it out. And what a better opportunity than to take someone from a club that obviously he doesn't want to be there, who's about to fit in the prime of his career. We'll offer him those big dollars. Let's go. And the other side of it too is, and maybe what's a little bit forgotten here is that, you sign him, and if you can manage to keep a Ponga, there's other dudes that'll come too, and there'll be other young guys that'll come. The problem Para's going to have at this point in time is, now that they're losing these guys, who's going to want to go and play for them? That's the problem Para's going to have, right? Whereas you've got these guys at Newcastle now, you've got probably one of the best fullbacks in the comp. Now you've got one of the best 5'8s. You've got Dylan Lucas. You've got the wingers out there in Best and Marju. Like, Fletcher Sharp was a gun on the weekend. Like, they're just showing that they've got these guys. They're becoming just those extra dudes helps to recruit and get other guys out there, and you can end up getting them for cheaper price. So, yeah. The other side of it too, and I've also heard a lot of people sitting there saying, oh, this is going to put Newcastle like in the trenches and blah, 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 blah. Like, we've all predicted them to finish in the bottom of the ladder this year, and we do it. We've almost done it pretty much every year, and they seem to keep making the 8. So maybe that's not as dire and as a bigger point and as real as that comment is. So, yeah. That's my point. I actually don't mind it. I have no problems with it. He's worth it because that's what he's offered.
Please no, Mr. Savage. Please no. Jake, you look like you're bursting at the seams to talk.
Oh, I just got a point. I suppose it's the point of, what he's offered is what he's worth. Do you believe if you were a club, would you sign him for $1.4 million a season for 10 years and lock him in for 10 years?
What club am I at?
The Newcastle Knights.
Yes.
If you are the recruitment officer or the whatever, if you're the person, recruitment and retention or whatever, getting someone across right now in the situation that they are in, okay, would you pay for 10 years, $1.4 million for Dylan Brown?
Yeah.
Be genuinely honest.
I'm Newcastle. Okay. I'm Newcastle. I know where their cap is. I get it. I know where you're trying to go with that. But like, who else?
To quote the great Joel Johnston, you've got rocks in your head, mate. To be honest, I'm not trying to,
Not a movement.
Look, no, just I can't see that, man. If I'm being honest with you, I can't see that, and that's just obviously being an Eels fan and watching so closely for so long. Because Mitchell Moses has been out for a long time now. Okay, he's been out. He hasn't played a game for us for so long. And all I've seen is Dylan Brown be our main half. Now, you said guys like Fletcher Sharp, right? So Fletcher Sharp, he's not going to be a halfback. He's going to be out and out 5'8". He does not look like a halfback to me. Does he look like a halfback to you?
No.
Well, that's a rhetorical question. We move on. They have a million halfbacks over there, but are any of them good enough? Are any of them good enough to basically carry Brown or to game manage enough that Brown can actually play off them? And I don't think so. Not from what I've seen so far. So are they going to sign another half? And how they've got a million of them over there. So, surely, I don't know. Are they going to play with the combinations again? I cannot see it working. And I think look, the $1.4 million thing isn't the issue. It's the 10 years. He's locked at that club for 10 years. So if it doesn't work, and it's different from like the Jason Taumalolo. At least when Jason Taumalolo was there, he was a forward. So like you can see basically he's either committing output or he's not putting output. Like Dylan Brown, if he's not, your team loses, and you're paying $1.4 million for that.
Look, one thing on this night still, and I'm not trying to be harsh, and I understand what you're both saying, and I do think there's part of me that says to the Knights, it's a decent deal. The reality is when you look at those lists, when they compare the highest paid players and you see Dylan Brown sitting at the top of the list, you're absolutely kidding yourself when you look at it like that, because Dylan Brown is not in the top 10 best players in the competition. In my opinion, I think he's a very good player and probably the top 3-5-8s in the game, but he's not in the top 10 players in the game currently. And I've seen a comment before, with the help of like Joey, with the help of a couple others, they can hopefully be the people that turn Dylan Brown into a halfback. As a Para fan and who's watched Dylan Brown his whole career, I don't think, and I'm not a first grade coach, I just don't think anymore, and I've said it a number of times by now, he is not going to be a halfback. He has tried it. He has failed at it a number of times, and it just won't happen, unfortunately. He can't do that. And the problem with the Knights, and Jake, I spoke to you about it with the Tigers on the weekend, is your 1, 6, 7 are now all runners of the football first and foremost. You need someone out of that who will just go literally either your 7, majority of the time your 7, who will go, you know what? I'm not going to be that player. I'm going to sit back and actually organize this. Dylan Brown can't do that. He's so quiet on the field. He doesn't talk. He's not a talker. He runs the football. You're going to either take your best asset away from your highest paid player, which is insane, or you're going to try and make him become a halfback, which he isn't, and play a style of game he just can't do. It's just ridiculous money. And I'm not hating on Dylan Brown. I still respect him as a player. I still like him as a player, but it is what it is. It'd be very, very interesting.
I agree with you in the sense, like, I don't think he's a bad player in the slightest. I think as a 5'8", he's possibly, he's top 3, like you said, probably top 3 5'8". But you're not paying $1.4 million for a 5'8", or if you are, then that's not a good decision for you. Like, you're paying that money for a game managing half. In my opinion, if you're a club, you're going to pay that money for a player who can manage your team to a win in a situation where it's a difficult game, or like you might be like, a close game. You want them to manage the team around to be able to get a win. He can't do that, and that's why I think he's not worth that amount of money. Okay, this isn't Dylan Brown hate. I think as a physical player, right, he's good. He's got great step. He can pass the ball where he wants it to go. Obviously, like he's got everything except for the talk. Like you just said, Joel, he's got everything except for that. And I just don't know that can actually be taught. I think it's like, especially not if he doesn't have the confidence to do it at a team where he's been at since he debuted at 18, how's he going to do it at a new club where he doesn't know anyone?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Let me start taking this to another place where you then look at what's going to happen now moving forward. It's happened. It's done. You've got to move forward. And for the Eels, if they weren't on the phone today making calls and looking at the options available and getting on the front foot, they shouldn't be where they are in their jobs. That's just being brutally honest. So, like me, as soon as I heard the news, I went onto the NRL.com website, looked at contract statuses. So this is all from officially the NRL.com website, and looked at players who are coming off contract at the end of the year who are available, because there's been so many names, and we'll talk about, as I said, some of those other names that have been mentioned, but they're just not available yet. Whether you think a contract means much or not, I just don't think a lot of those clubs will help out one of their biggest arch rivals in the Eels and help them and let one of their players go early. There's just no need to do that. So, for instance, the first one I found, and I'm actually leaning towards this more and more in a weird way, Jamal Fogarty. He's all rumor. He's got a club option for next year. By all whispers are the Raiders want to start Sanders from next year and get that young halves combination going. And Fogarty's on the outer for some unknown reason. I think he's one of the best Canberra Raiders players every time he plays the game. We've seen from the Broncos the fact that Reynolds and Hunt, early days so far, I know, they look really, really good together. And that they're both halfbacks, you would say, at club level. Some say Ben Hunt's a hooker. I don't mind a Fogarty-Moses partnership. The other parts of this is what I wanted to try and get to. The big pressure here is on Moses. Moses hasn't been fit now for, 18 months. He's hardly played a game in a para jersey. You need to start signing players who can actually play that lead playmaker role. Fogarty can do that easily. So if Moses is out for whatever reason, Fogarty can just go from the 6 to the 7 easily, and you should be able to just continue on playing your natural game. Trav, do you like the Fogarty shout, or am I crazy?
I like it. Yeah, definitely. But remember, he missed half the year last year too. So, do you really want to have that, double injury concern? I must have missed something. I couldn't believe when I saw the post today that there's talk that Jamal Fogarty's on the outer, or that they don't like him that much. That makes no sense to me. The Raiders need to figure their rubbish out, because it's just rubbish. I can't figure that out. He definitely makes sense. He's a gun. He's really good, and he would plug that hole. But I'd just be a bit concerned around the injury concern that he's got. One person that I'd be trying to look at now, and I think the Broncos are going to need to figure it out, because we've been talking about them and their salary cap with everything they've done. But surely someone needs to look at Ezra Mam, because he just doesn't fit. How does he fit there?
Oh, I don't want Ezra Mam. Oh, don't give me that, Trav. Don't give me that, please.
Mate, but at the end of the day, the dude can play footy. He can play footy. He's just had some majorly dumb things off the field. But if that's curbed in the way that the NRL loves to play it, the NRL loves to continue to get these guys in their game. So he's thereabouts. He's going to serve his suspension. The dude can play. He's going to be there. They don't have a spot. So it just, to me, that makes sense.
Yeah. If the Broncos didn't sack him for doing what he did, they're trying to keep him. And I think that they know that Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds are not going to last forever. So
they know that, but they've also got a salary cap issue that they're going to have to try and go. And there's going to be a walkout of a few dudes that are going to have to leave the Broncos at the end of this year. It's just the way it has to be.
That's fair. It's a fair point.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll quickly just say the other guys that were on the post, and then Jake, you tell me who you think is the best option from these four before you go into the Galvins of the world and stuff. That's a different conversation. But
yeah, right.
Tamari Martin, is off contract at the end of the year, isn't getting a look in at the Warriors. Again, I liked his option just because of the fact that he's shown last year with no Sean Johnson, he can actually run a football team as well as he has a really good running game. So whenever Moses is fit, at the moment, I'm literally trying to think that Moses is fit for maybe 8 to 10 games a year. Unfortunately, at the moment, his body just isn't right. But Tamari Martin can step up in those shoes and actually play that style of role. Kyo Weeks has shown signs at the Raiders he's really improving. Now, that is at fullback, but he's been a 5'8" for a lot of his career, especially junior footy coming through. I think, and he played a bit of 5'8" and in the halves last year for the Raiders when Fogarty was out. So I don't mind that option at all, and I think that's the run. But the only option is there. He's not really an organising player, so you're relying a lot on Moses being fit for a majority of the year. The last one, Adam Dewey at the Tigers, is off contract at the end of the year. Injury riddled is the huge concern there. You're basically having two halves that have really bad run of injuries, unfortunately. I don't know if I'd go there, maybe on like a cheap deal, but what are your 4 options and include Jamal Fogarty? Who would you go there if you had the option of those 4?
I think for me, it's out of Tamari Martin and Jamal Fogarty. It's definitely out of those two. Dewey's too injury prone, and I just think, like we just said, KO Weeks can't run a side at the moment as far as I'm aware, so I wouldn't go with him because that's the same problem we've currently got. I think Jamal Fogarty, to be honest with you, Tamari Martin showed that he can do it, but I don't think he's showed that he can do it consistently. So I think I'd pick Fogarty in the sense that he is kind of specifically a half. Like I see that.
Got excited.
It's not a bad option. I don't think that'd happen though. I think I'd have to say Jamal Fogarty because I think he could do either role, and it'd be kind of similar to what the Broncos have currently got, and I think that'd be quite good, except for the fact that Moses is faster than both of them, which is not a bad thing.
Just Brent, just quickly, and I've seen a couple of these people say this in the comments so far. The club has already come out; they will not renegotiate or try and extend and keep Brown now. It's done. They have told his manager a number of times. And that was why it stayed on for so long. They were hoping that the club would actually fold and go, we'll give you the money. They won't be giving him the money. Bevan French, guys, I know there's a lot of comments in there. Again, tied to a long-term contract at Super League, absolutely killing it. Favoured for the man of steel. I think he's got it once already. Might get it again this year by the way he's looking at it. If I was him, I'd stay over there. I would not come back under the pressure at the moment after the way that fell out at the club where he was in the wrong, so was the club, all that sort of stuff. I just don't know if it's a great mix to come back to that. Personally, if I was in Bevan French's shoes, I probably wouldn't. I'd stay over there, get a good wicket, and away you go. That Joe Manu talk, seriously. Just on the chat, Lockie Galvin's coming up a lot. As I mentioned, Tyron Wishart, unfortunately for Trav, but he's expected. One of these guys has to go at some point. And as I said, Jack Cole are 3 players that I look at from the year after that. I believe Wishart has a club option at the end of this year, but I'd suggest the Storm will say, we want to keep you. I don't think they'll do too much there, and they'll want him to say if they win the comp, they might want to go for 2 in a row, or they'll be trying to win the comp still if they don't get it done this year. So I don't see that happening. So I'm going to say all 3 of those players are realistic options for 2027. Trav, out of those 3, is Galvin the clear favourite for yours?
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Really? Yeah. I'll make it short and snappy. That's a no-brainer.
So do you do a short-term deal for someone, or even like a Fogarty? You could maybe give him a 2-year deal and say the first year you're top-notch. Second year, you're more of a sort of a fill-in type role because he will be getting a little bit older by then. I still think he's quite fit, but is that sort of where you'd play at it, or you'd go for a junior and just say, look, let's just go a Volkman or something, give him another year, see what can happen, pray that Moses is fit for a lot of next year and just see what happens?
Yeah, look, unless you can get someone for next year, I think you do. Just play through your system. Play through, like at the end of the day, like he's gone. He's going to go. He's not going to the end of the year. He's going to stay there for the year. He's going to play unless he gets injured or something crazy happens. I just think play within your system. Go and hook up. So there's plenty of dudes out there that are young. And there's lots of talk about a few of them. Like you guys know more about it. I've only seen what I like have read up and heard in the comments and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's guys out there. Give them a go.
Yeah, Jake.
look, as much as I'd be super happy getting Lockie Galvin, if we could get Tyron Wishart, mate, stop it. If we could get Wishart, man, I would. Oh, my God, that would excite me.
I'm with you.
Yep.
In a weird way,
Gavin's-
I'm sort of more on Wishart for some. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just keep getting drawn to Wishart.
I know. Gavin's fantastic. And you know what? If he comes across, I'd be so happy. Don't be wrong. I'd be actually stoked for the club. But I would love to get Wishart across. He's just shown what a competitor he is.
You'd have to pay him. You'd have to pay him an enormous amount of money to get him to come there.
What's an enormous amount, do you think?
Because at the end of the day, he's got a club option next year, and there's no way the Storm will let him go. So he'll be there. So by 2027, that means that Munster and Hughes will both be 32, right? Going on 33. So it'll be, and we know that the Storm are happy to make tough calls. By then you're looking at guys trying to play for the Papua New Guinea team. What's going to happen there? Does your Munsters, does your Hughes sit there and go to Papua New Guinea and earn a bucket load of money to finish off the last part of their career? Like, anything can happen in that period of time. I get it. I see what you're saying. I think you're sort of dreaming a little bit there. I reckon Wishart's, the
I didn't say it was
something I think the club's got a love for him. I think it'd be really hard to get him.
It's what I want. I didn't say it's what I think's going to happen, but if we could, I'd be stoked.
The Para fans are flooding Galvin's inbox. So there is talk at the moment. There's a number of Eels fans out there who are calling to play some of these juniors we've got coming through. I think that's absolutely crazy talk. I understand, like, people go, oh yeah, but we put Brown in early and fed him to the Wolves. But like, this is literally feeding to the Wolves to another level. After what we've seen in round one, no Moses, so you don't have a leader with them either. You're literally putting him with Volkman. Like, that's not a guy who's coming off a year-long injury, still finding his feet, was very, very average on the weekend, has no kicking game. You cannot feed a youngster, whether he's carving up junior level or not. In my opinion, you just simply cannot feed a junior into a team like this at the moment. They just got pumped by 50. They didn't show up. Their forward pack is getting absolutely monstered and has done now for 2 years. You can't put a youngster in and go, oh, yeah, here you go. Like, we've seen from players in the past, like Ash Taylor rings a bell. Even, like, for instance, Katoa was shown before, but he was debuted really young, and I think he's still paying a bit of that. Like, we haven't seen, and we keep saying his best is to come. He's still got plenty. But I think he's been hurt by how young he did start there at the Dolphins and wasn't quite ready. I just think it's crazy. So that's why, for me, I'd be looking at buying someone. I wouldn't be looking at coming through yet. But that's just my opinion there. So let's talk. When we talk signings, Jaden Brailey at the Raiders. So let's change the attack. Let's get away from that. Let's talk. We'll go back to, if you have any more questions on that sort of stuff, add it as a question. I'll star it. We'll come back to it at the end of the episode and do some more questions around it. So Jaden Brailey signs with the Canberra Raiders for 2 years from next year. All over social media today, once again, was rumoured to Parramatta at one stage. There was talk maybe the Cowboys because they're losing Reece Robson, but he's apparently gone to the Raiders. Bit of a weird one with their hooker stocks, if I'm being honest. And they've got Owen Paddy that they've just extended. I know they're saying the plan is that Brailey will really help Owen Paddy's game. I don't know. I think Starling has been really, really good anytime he gets a chance. But there's rumours out there that Starling is heading to South Sydney. Who knows if that is true? But, like, for instance, Owen Paddy signed until 2028 for the Raiders. You look at their other options. Denny Levi ends this year. And it's, who did I say the last one? Tom Starling is actually out of contract at the end of this year as well. So, for me, that does suggest both of them are gone. So, and Brailey will be there. I just thought by next year, if Paddy gets to play a majority of this year, even from the bench, he would be ready to go to start the year and be the 9. Like, and I think Jaden Brailey is wasted as a 14. Trav, am I off my head here? Like, I don't quite get this.
Yeah, I don't quite get it either. But in saying that, clubs are picking a Brailey type in that 14 role, right? That's what they're doing at the moment. It's kind of the meta 14th player. So I don't mind it, but it doesn't make sense because of currently you've got Levi, you've got Starling, you've got Paddy. So there's 3 hookers there, but we know that Starling and Levi are gone. So the math means that they need to stay here for that they need someone else. I think I don't mind it. I mean, if Brailey can stay healthy, he's a good player. He's a really good player. He's just got to stay healthy. That is it truly Owen Paddy's spot? Like that, just because they've signed him doesn't mean it's his role, right? So this just again creates a little bit of competition, but then someone to feed off and teach if that's what they want to try and do. So yeah, I don't mind it. It makes sense in terms of what they've got. He's not going there straight away, is he? Did I miss that?
No, he's going at the next year. So
yeah, and so that's when those 2 are gone. So it'll be him and Paddy, right? So they need to have something. Smile for him, mate.
So it's just old man. I just want to let you know about the rules if you don't know. Players are able to sign from November 1 last year for 2026. So just be careful because the Facebook keyboard warriors will be all over you for those sorts of comments. Just they are allowed to do it. Whether Para do it or not, who knows? Probably not, if we're being honest. But anyway, don't want to get myself in trouble there. Jay, anything to add on the Brailey signing? Do you like it?
Don't like it. Not a fan. I think that they developed Tom Starling for so long to get him to sort of get where he is, and they've got young Owen Paddy coming across, and I think he's going to be great. I think they look like a perfect 9 and 14 combination, and I think it's silly, to be honest. I don't think Brailey's necessary there, and I think they could use the money in somewhere else.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
What's something when you look at this Raiders outfit and you go, this is where they need to strengthen?
That's a good point. I'd argue probably just either keeping it in reserve for if they need it or using it to probably just strengthen that forward pack somewhere. Not that it's weak. Not that it's weak. I'm not saying it's a weak forward pack, but I'm not. Where else are you gonna put it? Unless they're going to try to sign some sort of gun fullback for KO Weeks, but you're not going to do that because he's sort of look. It's a pretty balanced side, so I get the sense that it's not really needed per se. But at the same time, you don't need. I don't think that Jaden Brailey is needed either, so I don't rate it myself.
I don't see Brailey playing lock though. Like they've got Horsburgh, who has trained the house down and looks like he's fit as not just this year, but moving forward. Smithies is there as well. Like there's got 2 really good locks in my opinion. So, it's this time again. Blind rankings. It's been a hit. It's been a smash hit the last 2 weeks. Jakey boy, it's your turn. It's your turn here. You've got the best coaches of all time. Now, you have absolutely no idea, once again, everyone, he doesn't know who I'm talking to say. He's got to do this 1 to 5. Doesn't know who I'm going to say. Has to do them in order. We will see how he goes. The first coach I'm going to give to you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I was just going to say, make sure you play along in the comments. But yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, play along in the comments. I didn't do it last couple of weeks. I haven't paused for a couple of seconds to allow comments to filter in. I will this time. So please play along. If you play along in the comments, you'll go ahead and I'll give you a cooler. Craig Bellamy. 1 to 5.
You've kicked it off early. He's going to sit in number 2 just in case someone else pops up.
Oh, just in case someone else pops up.
There's a certain someone else that I think you know who I'm talking about.
I hope you pull out a buller in the last on pick 5 for me.
Full of the future, Benji Marshall, coach of the Tigers. Number 2, or second coach, I should say, Trent Robinson.
He can go number 3.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, he can go number 4. I probably, I'm happy to put him there. Well, I'm not going to put him number 1 because I'm waiting for someone else. So I'm probably going to get bullied, to be honest. Because I'm waiting for a specific. I don't know if you're going to put him there, but I'm waiting for a specific coach that beats all of these.
Okay. Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, number 1. There you go. Done. That's where I wanted him. So thank you. I'm okay with that.
Jack Gibson.
Oh, that sucks that I got to put him in 5. God damn it.
Oh.
That's all that's left. That sucks. That sucks.
So
I wouldn't put him there.
Your list is this. 1, Ivan Cleary. 2,
Yep.
Craig Bellamy. 3, Trent Robinson. 4, Wayne Bennett. And 5, Jack Gibson.
I'd probably shift, if I had to redo my time over, if I could, I'd go Bennett up to 3, Gibson to 4, and then Robinson 5th. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. Like top
Exactly
2, I'm
how
happy
I've
to keep
got
there.
mine.
Top 2, I'm happy to keep there.
I worked it out perfectly for me. Bellamy 1, Cleary 2, Bennett 3, Gibson 4, Robinson 5. It somehow just worked out perfectly.
Nice. But yeah, when you guys were like freaking out like that I left, number 1 spot open, I was like, Ivan Cleary has to pop up. Like, you can't not talk about Ivan Cleary. So I was waiting for him. I could have got sticks real hard there.
You got in first. You played along. Thanks, brother. Message the page. You've got a caller coming your way. James, you still have to message the page from last week, brother. Just a friendly reminder while you are actually watching and haven't tuned off. So thank you. Now, back into a bit of footy talk. The Broncos, absolutely, this hot start continues. We spoke about them in the trials and said how impressive they were. The big question mark was, do they continue it into round 1? They did more than that. I know the Roosters were poor, but goodness me, the Broncos were relentless, and they were just another level. And I cannot wait to see them verse one of these big, strong oppositions. I'm talking a Storm, a Penrith, a Manly, a Sharks. I'm keen to see him play one of those teams because I think they're up those tiers at the moment where they'll continue to do this to some of these other teams. And basically, yeah, I just think I'm so impressed with what I'm seeing at the moment. I'm not even looking down the track and seeing if the players get tired in the next year or two and it doesn't work. I dead set think they're really onto something this year. And if people sleep on him, if teams sleep on him, if they can make literally, they just need to make the finals and they can be honestly, they can win the comp. If they get it on their day, they can win the comp. Trav?
Yeah, I mean, I said that in our ladder prediction. I was really high on the Broncos. I said it in the review at the end of last year, how good their list is. Whilst I was surprised about what they put up, the way that they went on Saturday night, wasn't it? I didn't think they'd go and flog Roosters like that, 50-14. I just didn't think that would happen, but they just literally owned every statistical part of the game. And I kind of thought I've expected them to be good. I've expected them to be that good. I said on paper their list can win a premiership. I just wanted to see what would happen. I thought maybe it might not this year, more so just because Madge, he had one preseason. They had to sort of get a few injuries back. Maybe some of the Ezra Mam talk might have been a bit of a distraction in how they managed that. But that's all gone. Like, it's all rubbish. Like, they've literally just stomped at that and said, nope, we don't need any time. Here it is, round 1, off we go. Like, and even in the trials, they were freaking phenomenal in the trials. So, like, yeah, they've hit the ground running. The big key is clearly for them is going to be injuries. I mean, that common sense says that's cliche, but common sense says that's going to derail any team. But for them, unfortunately, they've got a few players on that list that are that are injury prone, and I think if they lose one of Ben Hunt or Adam Reynolds, I think you could almost call, though you've got Ezra Mam in the wings, I think you could. Their game, their style, what I saw on the weekend it's literally revolved around those two. Like, Pakes was good. He was and he played that, but he played that perfect hooker role, right? It was just get the player the ball, get it quickly into one of their hands, and off we go. Except for that one where he hit Haas really quickly. Haas then just that wicked little offload, and Pakes got the try. Like, Pakes just played that perfect hooker role. So he was there. Like, the wingers just look, the centers and wingers just look amazing. But that's because of the way Reynolds went. Like, I just absolutely love what I saw on the weekend, and I'm very high on what they can do. I think it's scary for the league. However, let's just curb it a little bit until they play a big time team, and that'll be good to watch, and I can't wait for that.
Jake, Broncos impressing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they obviously impressed. I know that the Roosters are a little bit sort of gutted as a team at the moment in terms of players and whatever. But at the same time, look, they still pump the Roosters, who still have quality players within that side. It's not the side of yesteryear when it comes to the Roosters, but they still absolutely sort of demolish them. At home, exactly. I'm massive on Madge for the Broncos. I think he's the perfect fit, and I said that in the preseason. I think that he's going to do great things for that club. I think they're going to work really well together. A lot of people, I really loved. He had an interview the other day where he sort of said like everyone was giving me crap during the preseason where for taking it too hard on them and that they went too hard. And he goes, basically, if the Storm or the Panthers did that, they had a really hard offseason. No one's going up to them and saying, "Oh, you're having too hard of an offseason, a preseason, and stuff like that." And he goes, "I just laugh at it now." And I think it's a great attitude because they're professional players who get paid a shit ton of money to do this. And I think that if they can't handle a little bit of tough love, you shouldn't be in the NRL. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that he's the perfect coach for the style of players that they have, to sort of balance them out and just make them play at their best. And I think we're going to see really great things from them this year.
On the flip side of that, there is some questions. I didn't want to talk about it tonight, but there is some questions in the comments. The Roosters, in the comments, the Roosters have a much better roster than the Eels and copped 50. So where do the Chooks go from here? In follow-up to that comment, Robinson has been looked after for a long, long time, with very strong squads to play with. Are we seeing the demise of not just the Roosters, but Trent Robinson?
No.
Not Mr. number 3 in your list?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it was a blind ranking, all right? Trent Robinson has had multiple seasons where
big call.
He's had multiple. Oh, that's terrible. Last year he was the one that said Storm weren't going to make the 8. By the way, just to let you know that was him. So just thought I'd let you know that. And also Sharks for the spoon is what he said last year as well, just quietly. But okay, moving on.
Now it's public.
Yeah, now it's public. Oh, it was. Yeah, he doesn't mind. It's fine. He's probably going to absolutely give it to me after. I've lost what I was saying. Oh, Trent Robinson has done this before, where he's had players where this whole season he's had a whole bunch of different people out, and he still made the 8, and they've still looked fantastic. I know this year is probably a fair bit sort of further than where that was at the time, but I still think he can do it. Like, I still think that he can get them there with the systems in place and the Roosters being who they are. I think that, it's not impossible for them to make the 8. They versed a fantastic looking Broncos side, but, against some of the weaker sides in the competition, there's no reason why they can't win. Yeah, they looked terrible. It was round 1, I think that any team that looked terrible in round 1 has a chance of doing better depending on what happens with the coach. Like, you have 20 to change what you're doing and to succeed. So, did I lag? Do a big lag spike there. Sorry. To change what you're doing and to succeed. So, I think it's definitely possible that he can turn this around, personally. I think they're going to sit like upper side of the bottom 9 by the end of it.
Trav?
And I don't think he's under pressure either. I don't think he's under pressure.
Yeah, he's under pressure, but I don't see it. I really don't. I wrote a big comment in the post that you put a couple of days ago on our socials. I've said it in groups. I've sort of said it in a lot of conversations. Unfortunately, they've had good teams. Last year in 2024, they had a great team. They finished in the top 4 and finished in the top 4 by the end of the year. The only thing that derailed them was the timing of the injuries that they copped. Sam Walker's injury last year was huge for them, right? It's no different to any club. Look at what happens to Para when the halfback drops away. There's not too many clubs that can have someone drop a big playmaking player and able to replace them and continue to win. Last year we had Munster out and we had Tyron Wishart, and we sort of stumbled across how good Tyron Wishart. Well, we know how good he is, but we didn't realize he was going to do what he did and kept going with that. It's not too many clubs that can do that. Penrith obviously have with having to replace Cleary and things, but yeah, I just don't see the pressure. I really don't. he's had good teams against the best Australian sporting organisation in the history. They've won 4 in a row and lost the 5th. They've had to come against the Storm. They won a premiership. Well, they won 2 under his wing recently before that happened. Like and as much as they sit there and they say, oh, it was Cronk did that, Cronk did this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, I would expect that. That's how good he is. But he's still the head of the snake. Like, he's still the coach. He's still making those decisions. I don't think there's pressure on him at all. I mean, obviously there's pressure, but I don't think it should be warranted or, I think he's just going, whatever. I don't care.
I'll go different. I'll say there is pressure on him, and I think there is legitimate pressure on him moving forward. It's not just him; it's the Roosters club itself. I just feel like the aura is starting to wear off a little bit. I think that players are starting to see through them. Agents, like the salary cap's growing and growing. The money that the NRL give the clubs are growing and growing. Like they don't need the help and stuff anymore. They're all sort of like, you can argue Uncle Nick and the sombrero and things like that, but I just feel like their recruitment has been really, really poor. And not just for this year, but for about 2 years or so now, recruitment and retention has been really poor. I think this continues to be underestimated and underjudged, just how big a stuff up this last 12 months has been by the club. And just literally they've lost 8 or so key players and replaced them with a Chad Townsend. Like, that is ridiculous. And any other club would get, if this was the Tigers, I guarantee you everyone would be ripping shreds off them. They would be going, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. Like, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Because it's the Roosters and what they've done back in 2019, they give a tick and they give him a pass mark. I think he's under increasing pressure. If they get more of those 50-point losses, I think that the plans have to start being drawn up to say, where do we go from here? What do we do? Because as great as he has been, as great as a coach he is, there is also a time where change has to happen. Like, you've seen it with Bennett. He's been moved around and got moved from the Broncos after a while. Unless you Craig Bellamy and just have the Storm down pat consistently every year, the top 2 teams in the competition, the Roosters haven't always been, even the last few years, they haven't been the top 2 teams having the roster that they've had. They've been, around the top 4 and stuff. They've been a competitive team. I still think they've underperformed. And people will say, oh, they've had injuries and stuff. Yeah, but so have most teams. Like, Penrith lose Cleary for a lot of the time. Storm have lost Munster. Storm have lost Hughes at different times. Storm lost Pappy for a long time. They still won games. They still were able to manage. I just think this year's a huge year for Trent, and I just think it'll be a huge year for the Roosters as well. Let's get into some tips and quickly go over. Sorry, James. Got to give them raps when they deserve it. Unfortunately, as much as it hurts, just keep digging a dagger into me, us Para fans. Just keep digging it in. First game up, and obviously, guys, just are you not entertained? I just want to say it again: 8 out of 8. I haven't for 2025. I haven't got an NRL tip wrong. I'm undefeated. So follow me.
I can't wait till next week. I can't wait till next week. I really can't.
It's going to be 2 weekends in a row of just nothing wrong. Knights versus the Dolphins. I'm going to just quickly let you know the team changes, then we'll just let you know our early predictions. For the Knights, just the one change. Adam Elliott comes onto the bench for Brodie Jones. For the Dolphins, Cody Nikorima returns in the halves, which does see Sean O'Sullivan drop out. Their pack is reshuffled with the loss of both edge forwards in Finifuiaki concussion, Conley Lemuelu with an eye socket, which means Oren Keeley goes into the edge with Max Plath, obviously, and Mark Nichols goes. Was he? Yeah, Mark Nichols returns to the side as well. Boys, here we go. Knights or Dolphins early here. And let us know in the comments, by the way. Let us know your tips as we go.
I've gone Dolphins.
Trav?
Yeah, I've gone the Knights because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way at the moment. Knights at home factor. And I don't think the Knights were that great on the weekend. They got a win. I think there's a bit of improvement there. I like what I've seen from Fletcher Sharp and the Ponga combination. And I think their first game at home, that can really go to another level. And I think the Dolphins had to go there early this week with a lot of flooding and stuff happening. They couldn't use their training facilities. So that might do good for them. They might steal them together. Who knows? First of the Friday games, Warriors versus Manly over there. Go Media Stadium for the Warriors. Wow, I'm reading all these teams for the first time. I'm actually shocked all over. No changes for the Warriors, which is okay. Shocking. It is what it is. I don't know what Tamari Martin's still on the extended bench, so I don't know what Andrew Epps is doing there, but it is what it is. And Manly, Takiao is out with a knee injury, unfortunately. Josh Alaye comes into the starting side. I'm going Manly for this one. Jake?
Manly.
Trav?
Yeah, I've got Manly comfortably.
Yeah, I think this will be another embarrassing. Andrew Webster, the pressure is very, very, very much on early days there if they do lose that by some margin. Penrith versus the Roosters normally would be a blockbuster. Now it's one where super coaches are watching, probably with the captaincy on Cleary. For the Penrith Panthers, a big in as well. Bryonto is back, which means Paul Alamotti goes back to the centres and Luke Garner goes back to the bench. Liam Henry also sits as his eye. He's on the extended bench. So it's all systems go there. Jack Cole, the big news, has won that 5'8" jersey by reports. I think Flungy is fit this week, so he hasn't got chosen. So it's Jack Cole's jersey at the moment, which is big news. For the Roosters, absolutely demolished by the Broncos last week. Obviously, they've lost Victor Radley, who's suffered that ugly head knock. Who they swapped him with? Siwa Wong goes from the lock forward role into the edge forward role. Goodness me, we just need to see him start to just... And I feel a bit sorry for him because he keeps getting switched from the edge to the middle a lot. I just want to see him can play some consistent football in the one position because I do believe there is a very, very good footy player in there. Makahisi Makatoa, Jakey boy, gets a bench spot. I don't know if that shows the desperate times for the Roosters there. But Trav, please just say the word that I want you to say.
I'm not going to lie to you. I lagged there. I didn't hear any of that. I'm so sorry.
You're all right. Trav?
Yeah.
Who are you tipping?
Penrith in a whitewash.
Oh, yeah. 100% Penrith.
Penrith by...
Build all your multis around that game.
Oh, that could be a huge week, Friday night of multis. Go make sure you're in the Legends chat. That'll be firing off on the Friday.
By the way, Talungi's not even named in the reserves. And
maybe he's not fit yet. I think he was.
So, yeah, he's not even named in the reserves. And what I think is funny about what's happened with all this is Luke Garner's been pushed to the bench after being named in that centre spot last for Vegas. So I think that's quite interesting.
Saturday games, Dragons versus the Bunnies. Blake Laurie returns via the bench for the injured. Unfortunately, Ryan Catchman with an ACL injury. Horrible blow for a youngster. That's the only change for the Dragons. For the Bunnies, wowee, Lewis Dodd, the mega signing, cannot win the halfback jersey. That has been given once again to Jamie Humphries, and fair enough as well after his performance on the weekend. Fletcher Myers replaces Jack White, who is suspended, and Bailey Bentley Harper will make his NRL debut on the wing after the Tyrone Munro injury as well. So the backline doesn't look great. Who we got in this one? This is a tough one, but I'm going to go to the Dragons.
I've got Dragons as well.
Yeah, I've got the Dragons because it's at home.
Yeah. And Cowboys versus the Sharkies. Todd Payton has swung the axe, dropping Origin back rower Jeremiah Nanai. He has been a shock omission. I just need to stop for a second. I want to say one thing after I've seen this on NRL 360 as well. Can I just say, if Todd Payton is only just now realising that Jeremiah Nanai has issues with his defence and he's dealing with it now, he's dead set got rocks in his head because I'm no coach, but I've known for about 3 years now, Nanai's defence is probably not up to scratch, to put it nicely. And he's waited till now, round 2 of a new season, to deal with it. we keep saying it. Todd Payten is under massive pressure, in my opinion. And I get Jason Taumalo vibes here, where he put Jason Taumalo out on to pasture in front of the team basically a few years ago. I think he's doing the same here because I think Nano was poor, and I think, look, it probably does have to be dealt with, but I just think if this is the first time he's trying to say something about it and do something, he should have done this dropping a while ago is my only problem or fault of this.
What the hell's he doing? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, Nano is an Origin player. We all know he's defensively, he sucks, as Adam Wilson's already said. But what's he doing? Like, you shifted him you shifted sides last week in the first week, and then you dropped him altogether. Todd Payten is a moron. Sorry, that was just, yeah.
A weekly Todd Payten rap. He must love the podcast. Shout out to you, Toddy. Once you finish coaching, we'll get you on the podcast for an episode. For the Sharkies, unnamed 17, which obviously won. No, they lost at Vegas, but he's put the faith in. Who we got here, Jake? Jake is dead to us. He's just frozen. Sorry.
No, sorry. It just lagged and came back. What was the question? Was the question Sharks? And I went Sharks.
Sharks and Cowboys. Sharks, yep.
Yeah, I went Sharks.
Yeah, I've got the Sharks, but it's hard because it's in Townsville, and it's really it's up there. It's a really hard place to go. But yeah, I just don't see anything from the Cowboys in terms of what they bring from last week. And Todd Payten's a coach.
Drinky looks like he hates his team. That's a great comment. I've got the Sharkies. I think the Sharkies will do this with ease. I think they're just way too classy and 5 levels above the Cowboys at the moment, probably more. Raiders versus the Broncos. The Raiders obviously have no Xavier Savage. Albert Hopewadi comes onto the wing, which means Tamale does save that wing spot. He's still there due to that suspension, unfortunately. Joe Tarpany is obviously out through suspension, which sees Josh Publi will start in the front row. Morgan Smithies returns to lock, and it has Corey Horsburgh starting in the middle as well. The Broncos, all systems go, unchanged 17 from last week, which I am not surprised about one bit. Trav, tell you what, I know that Savage and Tarpany are huge losses here for the Raiders. I get that. But I'm still looking at this Raiders side, and I'm still, for some reason, I want to go there. I just really was impressed with what I've seen from them in Vegas, and I just think there is something about them this year which is going to be a pain in the ass for so many teams, especially down there. I would have probably preferred this to be a bit later, where it's just where it is cold and teams hate going there. But even with the injuries, there is something about the Raiders that I'm kind of going, Broncos better respect this, or they can get a surprise.
100%. This is easily the game of the round, in my opinion. I've locked this game, ready to go. I've got the reminder on, and looking forward to it. I think the loss of Tarpany is going to hurt the Raiders more than we think. That's your captain, and just everything that he does in terms of the go-ahead. He's the one that's in their face. He's their leader. But yeah, I've tipped the Broncos, but I'm very much so looking forward to this game.
I agree. I think the Broncos I think the Raiders will really be up for this. I think it'll be a tight affair. Jake?
Yeah, I've gone Broncos, but I'm not super confident, but I still reckon they'll put at least 10. Least margin of at least 10.
The thing is, if Tarpany was playing, and I know the Broncos pack at the moment is probably better on paper, if Tarpany was playing, and we've seen this when he versed Fisher Harris the first game, he's one of those dogs, those big dogs, that he rises to these games. He literally takes it personally. We've seen it before. The better the quality of the front rower, the better he plays, and he would have been so up for this, and I probably would have tipped the Raiders. It's just he's a huge, huge loss. Next game up, Sunday game, Eels versus the Tigers. For the Eels, Rolls hasn't mucked around. He swung an axe. Kalma Tuolangi has been dropped for Sean Lane. Absolute impact of inspirational player. Cannot wait to see him play. Jordan Semrani gets his debut in replace of Tungo, who has been dropped. And we've seen him in the trials, and he played well. Katoga, he goes onto the bench, replacing Charlie Geimer. For the Tigers, Api Coruscant is back from suspension, and so is Dream Buller. So they get a full strength spine, which I think everyone has agreed their spine on paper is very good. And Star Patel is back. He replaces Solomona Fatape, who showed his defense is not quite up to first grade standard at the moment. Jakey boy, who you going?
I've gone the Tigers. This is a really difficult one for me. This is a very difficult one for me to do. I just can't get past the throbbing that we just had. So I just think that, it kind of is what it is. But one thing I'm just going to quickly say before you move on is, I knew it lagged. One thing I just want to say before you move on to you guys is I'm so happy to have a coach who's willing to drop people when they play bad. I'm so happy to have a coach that's willing to do that. It's been way too long. I've seen the same team on paper for the last 5 years, and it's so nice. I'm just not the exact same, but yeah, nice spelling.
If you're going to call someone, spell it right. Come on, brother.
I am a Treyot.
Eels or Tigers?
Oh, I don't know what Jake's on about. This is an easy one to pick, the Tigers.
It's hard for me. I'm an Eels fan. It just sucks.
Yeah, but mate,
I didn't say it was hard.
You're also on a podcast.
It's difficult.
We know who you go for, but you got to be smart. This is a no-brainer. This is West Tigers. You look at that on paper, and pretty much almost every spot. There's a couple, but almost every spot, the matching Tigers guy is better than the Para guy.
I'm going the Tigers. I think their spine is just simply better, and that's where it will be one. Can I just quickly call out some of the media who I reckon just literally take a pot shot at the Tigers now because it's the easy way out. I've listened to a number of podcasts to start the week. I've read a couple of articles and stuff. And honestly, they literally just beat the crap out of this club for the sake of it at times. I don't think they were great by any means. They obviously lost the game. They had a lot of missed tackles, which everyone knows about now. I still say they did actually quite well on their goal line defense. They would have conceded 30 points if it was the Tigers of old, even last year. They were missing 2 of their spine as well, don't forget. I just feel like it's just an easy out for mine. And I think some of the media just take the easy way out so many times and just write a story for the sake of it or bag them out because it gets some clicks. It's an easy way of getting clicks. They weren't nowhere near as bad as what I've heard a lot of people say the Tigers were in round 1. Granted, I think Lua was poor, but he's still getting used to playing halfback without his star Penrith players, and that will take some time to gel. And we've all said it about the Tigers. It will take some time to gel, but for mine, they looked better. Last game, Bulldogs versus the Titans back at Belmore. We'll ask Jesse tomorrow night, actually. We'll see if he's going this game because he does love a Bulldogs game at Belmore. Remember, he goes to more of those games in his own team. So, and that won't change this year, Roosters fans. He will not be going to a single Roosters game. Doggies, Josh Curran returns from a 1-game ban. Just checking for my Supercoach draft side. Oh, he starts on the bench, but that doesn't impact him. He'll come on and work his ass off. He replaces Harry Hayes. Kurt Mann has once again, he's been named despite that. This guy's the toughest guy in rugby league. Honestly, good. But yeah, that's it for the Titans. Well, this is the first time I've seen the Titans, so there's no changes. It's just the fact that, David Fafita's named on the bench. Oh, that's a kick up the ass to start with from Des. Cleese Haas has got the edge spot with Beau Fermor. RCG, the new signing, is at prop with Mo Fodawaker. So Tino will start at lock. I anticipate he will then move into the middle, play in the prop forward rotation, while Chris Randall comes on and probably plays a 60-minute stint at lock, something like that. No shocks in the back line. It is as expected. Brimson and Jaden Campbell are your halves. That's interesting. Wow, David Fafita not getting a free ride anymore. He's going to have to be held accountable. But to be fair, we have seen him play off the bench before, and he has actually played quite well. So could be a decent chance. He gets to play when the opposition is starting to tire. Could be a coaching masterstroke here from Des. Who we got, boys? I've got Bulldogs at Belmore. Too hard to go past. I think they're just, again, that tier above the Titans.
Yeah, Bulldogs. Titans didn't impress me at all during preseason.
Yeah, I got this one down as a good game. I'm really keen for this one, and I love the time. 5:15 Sunday Arvo. That's for Queenslanders. That's an awesome time. This is I've got the Bulldogs at Belmore. I'm not too worried about what happened in the preseason for the Titans. I think this is going to be a really good game. If the Bulldogs don't turn up, they'll get beat here. I reckon that list of Titans ready to go. I love that Fafita's coming off the bench. To be honest, he's just going to be a powerhouse. I can't wait to watch him come off the bench.
Yep, I absolutely agree. Now we've got some. And I just quickly had a look in Facebook because I've got to get these questions. There's a few guys that have sent some stars in that through. So thank you for that. Really do appreciate that additional support. Again, please join the Legends group if you haven't already. $2.99 a month for that additional support if you choose to. You don't have to. Doesn't change anything with what you get at the moment. But I'll go with the questions that were on the post to start with. While we're doing these and getting through them, put your questions in the comments if you haven't done so already. I have started a few, but we'll get to them. We'll be out of here in the next probably 10, 15. So get them in now and we will get to them. I'm going to start with a great question. I Miss Jessica has messaged the comments and said, Trav, what's the game plan for Super? Actually, and kids, if you're listening, please block your ears for just about 5 seconds. What's the game plan for Supercoach this week so you're not, and I quote, Joel's bitch for another round? Or are you just embracing the role at this point? Huge question. Very valid points made.
What she doesn't understand is that Joel's always in for a quick time, not a long time. And that it's only 1 week. What he doesn't realize too is that Supercoach is a marathon, not a 100-meter sprint. So he's won the first week. That's about all he's going to get for the rest of this year. But yeah, he's always in for a quick time, not a long time. Whoever that is, Jessica Hewish, she's banned. I'm going to block her.
Honestly, she speaks so much truth. I absolutely love it. It is a marathon, but I'm known for my sprinting. So I was a sprinter. I'll just do it in little spurts. So I might have a week off this week, but don't worry, I'll be back next week and then I'll smash it again. I'll just go in spurts. Leon, your pie man went to court today and was charged. I haven't caught up to that, unfortunately. I don't know what's happened there, but if that is the case, brilliant. If anyone has read that and can quickly let us know in the comments what actually happened, that would be amazing. But if that's true, I did hear on a podcast today that I was driving home and listened to, I think they mentioned on the Triple M one, I think they said that there's a big chance that the NRL is saying to him he's going to be banned from every NRL venue for whether that's lifetime or there's going to be for a certain amount of time, I'm not sure. But if that is the truth, do it. Absolute grub tactic to do. Apparently, he did about 4 pies. I had someone message the page and let us know he did about 4 pies, a beer as well. Like absolutely disgusting behavior around kids, around families, and for no reason at all, just to try and get a few likes on social media. I think another page just sort of was hinting towards the fact that he has a page himself. If that's the way you go about getting your likes and stuff, seriously, go rethink your tactics about why you have a page and what you're actually doing it for. It's obviously not the good of the game and you're passionate. You obviously just want to make a big dick of yourself, which I absolutely hate. Being in that space myself now, it's not a good look. Jake, what about the Python?
I just looked this up. I've just looked, ban him, get him going, get him out of the game. That's the sort of crap that it's not useful in the game. I was just looking it up. It says he was charged, but it doesn't actually. It says he's set to confront Sutherland local court on April 15, but I can't see anything saying like that he's not like allowed.
Maybe they've just laid the charges down, but he's yet to go to court or something. So
that's
maybe
that's
the court appearance is, but maybe it's just the charges have been laid. So what happens. But by reports, I don't know how it works.
Common assault.
Yeah, that's right. He's got a few charges actually. And he actually, there's video footage. That's the dumbest part of it. So it's not
his own video.
Yeah, that's the dumbest part of it. Look, first of all, don't do it. Yeah, first of all, don't do it. Don't be an idiot. And, don't ruin the game for other people just because your team's losing. That makes your whole club look bad, makes your whole fan base look bad. And then also, don't record it. Oh, can I buy this pie? Will it look good on someone else's face? Yeah, you're an idiot, mate. You're a muppet. So I don't know.
Man, pure definition of a flog right there.
Yeah.
And not to mention, have a think about this. And Shannon McIntyre said it really early in at the start of this podcast that if it was him that had been thrown at, all hell would have broke loose, right? You do that to the wrong person, particularly as a Bulldog, who are very, very passionate fans. He hit that all hell breaks loose, and we end up with a riot instead of just a simple game. It's just pathetic, man. It's just pathetic, and he needs the book thrown at him, and a statement needs to be made. And here's a really good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and if the Dragons haven't done so already, just ban him as well yourselves. Just get on the front foot with this sort of stuff. You don't want those fans attending your games. Simon, just a yes or no answer for this one. Do the Roosters and Cowboys concede another 50 points this week? One versus Penrith, one versus the Sharks. Personally, I'm going to say no. I just think the bounce back has to. Surely, it's round 2. You've got to have a bit of pride in the jersey. If they both get a flogging again, wowee. Jake?
I don't know which one, but yes. I'm going to say yes, but only one of them. I don't know which one. I'm going to say one of them will get a 50 on them. I don't know which one.
Trav?
No, only because you said only say yes or no, Jake.
Yeah, exactly, Jake. Seriously. Listen, mate. Listen. Another one from this Jess, who's this one's a really good question. I hope Trav, even though he's probably been very offended, has had a bit of time to think into this one. In light of Talon May's recent acquittal due to the withdrawal of domestic violence charges, how should the NRL balance the principles of innocent until proven guilty with its responsibility to uphold the league's integrity and public trust when considering the reinstatement of players previously stood down under the no-fault stand-down policy? Wowee, that was a lot to say. That is very much a teacher has written that. Very smart young lady as well. So credit to you. I don't know what you're doing listening to us. You're way above us, but thank you. Thank you for doing so and supporting us. Trav, I'll throw to you here first. What are your initial thoughts regarding this one?
It's also tagged to advisory, so we'd love to hear what Jason says too. So it might be a good one to get out there, but or even just get Jason to do a little bit of a video or something like that to post. But it'll be a really good one. This is a tough question. I haven't had a lot of time to prep for this. It's hard to answer, but look, it is innocence until proven guilty, right? He had his contract thrown together. He was dropped. It's had anything associated with him has been removed, hasn't it? So, I have major issues with this. When essentially, and we don't actually know what's happened. The charge has been thrown out. We don't know whether and there could have been anything. They could have paid the person off, and they've thrown the charge, they've dropped it, blah, 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 blah. So I don't really know. I don't really have an answer for this, and I probably need to go and do a little bit more research. I'd love to sit there and listen to Jason at Advisory as well. But yeah, my initial thoughts are that I'm a bit concerned around why the charges were dropped, what's actually happened, and what we do with that. Yeah.
Jay, do you have anything to add? I don't want to say too much yet. I don't know what we can say about it. I want to tread carefully. I think 100% I agree the NRL need to protect their image, rightly so. They also probably have to respect the court system and how that's – I think people have said, this is why the no-fault stand-down doesn't work. I disagree with that. I think the NRL needs to have that in place, and if it's in the course and if it's a serious matter, they have to suspend that player moving forward. I agree with that. Because it's the image, it's a business. You can't be doing that. So if it was ended up being something that was true, which obviously it hasn't been the case, that's not a look the NRL can stand by a player and go, yeah, no, we'll stick with him. Just the public backlash for that would be insane. Jake, anything to add?
Oh, the only real thing I suppose is I don't think the NRL will do anything about it because there's been other cases that are similar and they haven't done anything about it then. So why would they do it now? I'm not going to go too into detail with it, but I don't see them doing much, to be honest. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that fits, and that's exactly what James has kind of said. How's the court system go when man gets away with an $800 fine for what he's done? But like, I don't like it. Like, okay, it was DV, right, and that was allegedly to him, but there's nothing that's actually gone out and proven that he actually did it, right? Yet he's lost his contract, he's lost his job, all of that sort of stuff. So I don't like it. I get the point of what Jessica's trying to say here is that, we're having a go at this or having an issue with this, yet like last week with the Jack DeBellin stuff, right? He lost his career and then everything came out as, he didn't lose his career. Well, he did for a couple of years. And then it came out as that the policeman has lied and all of that sort of stuff. Like, this is just a fumbling issue. I don't like it. I don't like, at the end of the day, there are lots of accusations and things happen all the time. I don't think we should be banning people or dropping people until it is proven. Like, I don't like that rule. I don't like the way it is because we're playing with people's careers, especially on the other end. It's not a one size fits all here.
Yeah, I do agree. We'll check with our advisory and we'll come back for more regarding all that sort of stuff. I think that would be the best way to play this now moving forward. Going into the start comments, for those that shared, I'll announce the winner. I'll give it to Tahi Bro on YouTube. I know you said you shared it. Really do appreciate you being great. And you've got the 2 tickets to our Magic Round event at the Velveteen Rabbit. So if you can, please message the page on Facebook or Instagram, whichever you have. I know you're watching on YouTube. I hope you have one of those. And we'll organise and put you on the guest list for that event. Hopefully you're attending. That's a big one. Just going through a couple of the questions. Oh.
Rob Backer made a really good point about Jared Hayne too, by the way.
Let me get to this first. I know Jake's keen to answer this. Question for Joel and Jake. This is for the podcast listeners. How long do you think the Eels rebuild will take to become a premiership threat? Hopefully it's when Moses is still here. Jake?
I think it's going to be when Moses is still here. So obviously we've just got a new coach. I'm a massive believer that with a new coach, you have to... Let me guess, I've laid out, haven't I? I'm a big believer that with a new coach, you have to give them time to develop a roster or to create a roster that they want or that suits their style, right? So he's still got... Don't get me wrong, Raz did a good job of coming in and, sending some people off that he didn't think were going to suit his style, and that's great. But he's still stuck with some. He's still stuck with people that he probably would rather not have. And I see it as maybe 2 years. You got to, 2 years before you've sort of put together that sort of style of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'd say it's about 2 years where, if you start to get the side where you think he's happy with the side that he's picked, at that point, you got to go, if you're not going into the top 8 from there, that starts to become a bit of a fail from there. So I'd say my hope would be about 3 years before we should be talking about maybe trying to push for the premiership again.
I think we're in serious trouble of becoming the new Tigers. I think it's 5 years. I think there's a big, big rebuild to happen. And I don't know if the fans will have the patience to go through what actually needs to get done, unfortunately. Just a quick Supercoach one. I know this guy's asked a few tonight. Trav, give me an answer. Tomorrow night's our Supercoach podcast. We'll give you one now, Miko. Barnett out for Haas. If you can do it, love it. Broncos have a very, very nice run coming up that I absolutely love. I am very tempted to do it, but I'm also tempted to just trust the gut this week. What are your quick thoughts there, Trav?
Quickly do it straight away.
Yeah, I agree. This is a big one from James. I think Cleary is ahead of Joey now. Huge. Do we agree? Do you think Nathan Cleary is a better player now, rankings-wise, than Andrew Johns? Jake?
No.
I agree.
Or Trav?
I agree personally.
Wow.
I think he is. Yeah, no, I definitely think he is. I think that, look, don't get me wrong. Joe was, a once in a sort of, he was one of the most talented players of all time. But I think that Cleary is going to go down as possibly the best of all time. I think he's just that good.
The key comment there was, you think by the end of his career he's going to be, but right now he's not. I also predict that he will go down as probably the best player to ever. He'll be the GOAT. But right now,
I understand it's a different,
right now.
I understand it. Yeah, I'm saying right now. Right now, I would pick him. If I had a team and I was picking a halfback, I'd pick Cleary.
You got rocks in your head, brother. Absolute rocks in your head.
I'm
Joey
happy to
dominated Origin arena as well as NRL. Cleary needs to dominate Origin. I'll continue to say it. Owen, I love this, but Joey Manu was an option at the Eels. Would absolutely froth that. One I forgot to say when we were going on about everything, I anticipate this happening, and Marcus has now reminded me. I've got a bit of a thing. Obviously, we know Matt Arthur is now at Newcastle. He will be looking at taking over that hooker role. I reckon by next year, he will be the number 9 of that club. I think Adam O'Brien is under huge pressure. I think Dylan Brown has a brilliant relationship with the Arthurs. We all know that. I think this is getting set up now for Brad Arthur to take the reins at Newcastle within the next 12 months. My big prediction right now, Brad Arthur will be the coach of the Newcastle Knights by 2026. So see what happens there, but that is my big prediction. He will be the head coach of the Newcastle Knights. I just see it. I see it all coming together in very weird and wonderful ways. Last one, just on a super coach. Oh, sorry, Said actually brought up this good one. Does this signing indicate that Ponga may be on the outer? Now, there is plenty of rumours around Ponga going to the Roosters. That's been tipped off for a while now. That's the other problem here, is that Brown has backed himself into a corner where if they lose Ponga, again, everything just goes heaped onto Dylan Brown. And that's a huge thing to get yourself locked into, because all of a sudden you'll lose the player you probably signed to play with, and you've only got a chance to play with him for a season, pretty much. So I think it's a big possibility. I think, Trav, there's definitely whispers around in the rugby league world about the Roosters striking on Ponga when the time is right.
Yeah, there is lots of whispers. I'm eager to see how that all pans out and how that plays. I wonder if maybe this signing that with Brown kind of makes him sit there and think, oh, maybe I do hang around. But like James Beckman just wrote in then that Sharp, they've still got Sharp there. Like, yeah, they've got some options, but obviously you can't replace Ponga. Like, you simply can't replace him. I'm pretty keen to see how that goes.
Yeah, me too. That's it. That's the show, guys. I really do appreciate everyone sticking around. It's a huge episode. So much to talk about. Very, very consistent numbers throughout the whole podcast, which I really do appreciate. The same guys have been in and around the comments the whole time. Got to give away one more cooler just because I'm feeling like being nice. I'll give it to Marcus Nicholson. He's been very active in the comments tonight. I asked a number of really good questions. So if you're still listening, or whenever you go back and hopefully listen to this or watch this last bit, message the page, organised to get you a cooler out to your address. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jake. Your shift for the week is done. We will catch you on Sunday night.
You will.
Monday morning for those that are listening, or Sunday night. Actually, we release it straight away. And Trav, we'll be back tomorrow night to talk the wonderful game of Supercoach, where I'll give everyone a lesson for free.
Yeah, apparently. Loves a quick time, this fella. Loves a quick time. I'm going to make a meme of it too and post it on to our socials.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy. Stay safe. We'll speak to you tomorrow night for those Supercoach lovers. If not, our Tuesday night crowd family. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Again, be active in the social media content game, the comments, share it, everything else. We're very, very close to 20K on Facebook. So if we can get there in the next couple of days, huge, and become a legend, would be really much appreciative. Thank you, and